Good morning. Happy St. Patty's Day to those who observe. This is Alex Stumpf, and this is Offbeat here on North Shore 9, presented by FanDuel. This is a 15-minute look at the Pirates. Comes every single day. Hope you subscribe. And today, we're going to look at second base. Because last episode, I talked about how catcher was an area of need that the Pirates didn't address this offseason. Second base was an area of need that they did address. It was one of their biggest moves of the offseason, trading for Brandon Lowe of the Rays. And there's obvious appeal in adding a big left-handed bat to a position like that. Like Brandon Lowe he's regarded as a top 10 second baseman in the game. He was an all-star last year. He has 20-something low 30 power potential, especially at PNC Park. It's checking every box that the Pirates would want out of a second baseman and to help bolster this lineup. It does raise the question, though. What happens to Nick Gonzales? And if you want to add on another layer, what does it do to Nick Yorke? And if you want to add on yet another layer, what does it do with their 2022 first-round pick, Termarr Johnson? I think Brandon Lowe is here for a year. He could re-sign theoretically or be extended or something like that. Again, we're just talking to the theoretical, not to say that anything is imminent or close or been discussed. But I think next year they're going to have a different person manning second base. Or if they do, Lowe would have to re-sign in the offseason or something like that. So that's why whenever the Pirates make the trade, one of the first things Ben Cherington said during that Zoom call was Nick Gonzales was still part of this team. They still view him as an important part of this team moving forward. It's tough to see exactly how that looks in 2026, though. I mean, there is a very clear path here, and that's Connor Griffin doesn't make the opening day team, and Nick Gonzales goes there. But that's a very short-term solution in my mind. And maybe, he shows something in there and he earns playing time elsewhere. But Connor Griffin is a sleeping beast. Okay, he is going to take over that job eventually. There is, barring injury, no real chance that Nick Gonzales gets the opening day shortstop job and holds it through the entire year. Like, it will eventually go to Connor. So him playing there out of position, I don't know how great he would be as an everyday shortstop defensively. I think he can hum a few bars. I don't know if I want him playing 140 games over there. But in that case, yeah, okay, there might be a little bit of playing time early on, but what does it mean for 2026 beyond those first opening weeks or months or the end of the year or 2027 or 2028? Because Gonzales is in a weird spot that he has one option year left. He could spend a lot of the year in the minors, or he could be on the team and then be arbitration eligible for the first time next year. There's also that sweet cocktail where, you split the difference and he spends enough time in the minors that he burns his last option year, but he spends enough time in the majors that he's Super 2 eligible and gets an arbitration contract. So there are a couple ways that, no, you don't have to get an answer definitively on Nick Gonzales right now, but you kind of need one for 2027. And the guy we saw in 2024, I thought, yeah, that's probably the second baseman of the future. He had the OPS, it was a little north of 700. He got better as the year progressed. I saw improvement with the defense. It was what you wanted to see. Last year, regressed. And I do think the fractured ankle on opening day played a very large part in that. And I don't want to discredit that at all. But here is someone who had the job pretty much set up. Like Adam Frazier was brought in, and that was, to add a left-handed option because Gonzales has struggled against right-handed pitching. It's like, okay, well, was he just a platoon in there? But like, there was a path for him to be a regular on this team. Right now, I don't see that path after the year he showed. And a lot of it was just me diagnosing it. It was the fastball. He just didn't hit the fastball as well as he did in 2024. In 2024, he had a 410 slugging percentage, 334 WOBA, 348 xWOBA against fastballs. Last year, 377 slug, 299 WOBA, 305 xWOBA. Drastically down for the last two stats. WOBA, which is going to just take everything weighted on base average. Think of it like an on-base percentage for those of you who aren't as familiar with it. And then expected WOBA based off of the strikeouts, the walks, the quality of contact. It painted a pretty dim picture for someone who needs to be on the fastball. Gonzales is going to do most of his damage, ideally, hitting off the fastball. If he gets beat by a breaking ball or an off-speed pitch, that's one thing. But, like, get the heat right. And he just could not catch up to four-seamers all year last year. That was just, those stats were fastballs in general. But, four-seamer in particular, he had trouble with those pitches up in the zone. And it's a tough pitch to hit, but you need to be able to hit that. And he didn't. And now he's in a position where he's kind of a man without a job right now, guaranteed. Because Connor Griffin is going to be the shortstop at some point this year. Brandon Lowe is the second baseman this year. The Pirates have some depth now at the position with him. But he's not the only guy at second base. He's not the only guy at second base for 2027 either. Actually, it's probably going to be just as crowded next year. So this is a very important year for Nick Gonzales. He has to show how he fits into this team. But he might not be the only Nick second baseman who needs to show something, or his time in Pittsburgh might be shorter.
This episode is brought to you by IQ Bar, our exclusive snack hydration sponsor. IQ Bar protein bars, IQ Mix hydration mixes, and IQ Joe mushroom coffees are the delicious, low-sugar, brain and body fuel you need to win your day. The Ultimate Sampler Pack is a great way for you to try all IQ Bar products and flavors. You get 9 IQ bars, 8 IQ Mix sticks, and 4 IQ Joe sticks. All IQ Bar products are clean label certified and entirely free from gluten, dairy, soy, GMOs, and artificial ingredients. With over 20,000 5-star reviews and counting, more people than ever are fueling their lifestyles with IQ Bar's brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffees. The Ultimate Sampler Pack includes all 3. My personal favorites so far have been the almond butter chip and the iced tea lemonade hydration mix. It's just really full of flavor. I love starting my day with it, and I couldn't imagine starting my day with anything else other than IQ Bar products. Right now, IQ Bar is offering our podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products, including the Ultimate Sampler Pack, plus free shipping. To get your 20% off, text MLB to 64,000. That's MLB 64000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
Okay. The other second baseman named Nick Yorke. Last year, he had a lane, I felt like. And especially with Gonzales being hurt for so long and not really hitting that well, it's like this seemed like a golden opportunity to kind of take the job. Didn't really work out. He spent most of the year in Indianapolis. Whenever he did get his cup of coffee in the majors, it was a short-term deal. It was a rough year for him as well. Credit to him. He went to the lab and he really started to look at how do I get better? And a lot of it was with his hands. Chatted with him in Bradenton earlier this month, and he used the word tension. He had tension in his hands. He wanted to get more out of them. He's subscribing to, this smooth is fast mindset, which is good. And he's trying not to just throw his hands at the ball like he did in the past. These are all good things. These are things that are going to be able to help him better leverage, in theory, better leverage the ball, be able to drive the ball more, be able to go gap to gap, maybe put it over the outfielders' heads more. Like, those are good signs. But you have to show that you can do it. This spring has been pretty good for the most part. I don't think he's really shown enough to take over anyone's given job right now. And while Gonzales has some positional flexibility at shortstop, I really don't see that with Yorke. His positional flexibility is going out to the outfield, maybe third base for a little bit. He's got a much harder path the way I look at it right now. He's got a tougher path, especially since Brandon Lowe has struggled against left-handed pitching at times in his career. So maybe that helps in Gonzales, who has hit left-handed pitching better. Maybe he, like I said, he's struggled against right-handers, but he's hung in there against southpaws. If you want a platoon, you could go that way. You could theoretically do that with Yorke too, but he doesn't have as much major league experience. He needs at-bats. I don't know if that's really a call-in for him right now. But I liked what I saw in Bradenton. I think there's some chance that what he was working on, he might be heading down the right path. Time will tell. And then the third guy here, who has already gone back to minor league camp. But Termarr Johnson is fascinating for me for a couple reasons. One, I really like what I saw the last couple months out of him in Altoona. Last year wasn't a great year. He did not get that call to Indianapolis, but the way as the year progressed, the more seriously he would take some at-bats late in games. This is just stuff I heard, around there. Like, end of the game, you're down 6-1 in the 8th inning. He's like, no, this at-bat counts just as much. And maybe it's not going to spark a rally or anything, but it's going to help me, take this at-bat more seriously. He, I think, took some big steps in how he approached the game in maturation in this offseason. Heard good things there. We're going to see. But what makes Termarr most interesting for me is he's been dabbling at third base also. And for someone who has played pretty much exclusively second base as a pro, he was announced as a shortstop whenever he was drafted, but he is a second baseman by trade. For him to move over to third for some drill work, I'm interested to see if he's going to get reps there. Because if Termarr Johnson goes to third base, I think that creates a lot more opportunities for a Gonzales or Yorke at second. Now, I still see Termarr as a second baseman primarily. Like, I'm not saying he's got to make a full-blown position change, but if he's able to bounce between the two and have that defensive versatility, one, it's really going to help his case to make the major leagues, but also it's going to help the other second baseman options that the Pirates have on their roster. So I view Termarr as a 2027 option at second base. He's still a top 10 prospect within this organization. I think he could still be a positive hitter. Like, he may not be the guy that so many people were talking about in 2022, but I still see a plus bat there. I still see a plus bat and a good hit tool, and just a young man who is trying to get better every single year. So I think he could be part of that factor in 2027. So is that as a platoon with one of the other second basemen on the roster? Is that him getting more reps at third base? Is that trying to just take second base fully? Will he have an opportunity to take second base fully if either Nick Yorke or Nick Gonzales take that step? It is very intriguing for me. Brandon Lowe addresses the 2026 team's biggest hole in the lineup, one of the biggest holes that they had. I cannot argue with the trade. It did a lot for this team, but I look at next year, you probably have to go internal for filling that position. and you've got 3 candidates. And it's what I said yesterday with the catchers once again. Someone has to emerge here. Pirates can't just keep throwing resources at positions like this. They've already traded a Quinn Priester to get Nick Yorke. Nick Gonzales was a first-round pick. Termarr Johnson was a first-round pick. One of these has to hit. Nick Yorke was a first-round pick, albeit for a different club. So the capital has been put in there. You have to have a hit at some point. Thank you so much for listening to Offbeat here on North Shore 9, presented by FanDuel. These episodes come out every weekday, so be sure to subscribe. Thanks. Enjoy your St. Patrick's Day in moderation, and we'll talk again tomorrow.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in, whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube. If you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.